Some pennies in your change could be worth thousands. From the 1960 small date variety to 1976 bicentennial era errors, and even modern 2008 and 2014 Lincoln cents, these coins hide surprising value. Don't let these treasures slip away. I'll show you exactly what to look for. In 1960, a year remembered for political changes, cultural shifts, and technological advances, the United States Mint quietly struck billions of Lincoln cents, a coin that by then had already become a staple in American pockets and purses. The Lincoln penny, first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, had been circulating for over 50 years. By the time 1960 came around, the penny was deeply tied to everyday life. But what makes this year particularly intriguing to collectors and historians is the existence of error varieties that transformed a simple 1-cent coin into a rarity worth tens of thousands of dollars. These errors have captured the fascination of collectors, with certain examples of the 1960 Lincoln cent fetching between $62,250 and $141,330, a staggering jump from their humble face value. The story of the 1960 Lincoln cent begins with the Philadelphia and Denver mints, which were producing pennies in immense numbers to meet the demands of commerce. The obverse, bearing the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, was already iconic. The reverse still displayed the wheat ears design until 1958, and by 1960 it had been replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design, symbolizing continuity and American unity. However, within this seemingly standard production year lies a fascinating twist. The 1960 pennies are famous for their small date and large date varieties, a detail so subtle that many casual collectors might overlook it. The date size difference may not sound dramatic, but it opened the door to one of the most notable double die and transitional error discoveries in U.S. numismatic history. One of the primary reasons the 1960 cent stands out is the minting process itself. During this time, coin dies were still being hand-punched with dates, meaning slight differences could occur between die sets. The small date and large date varieties were born out of this process, and collectors immediately began to notice the distinction. But within those varieties, more unusual and dramatic minting errors appeared. Double dies, repunched mint marks, and die deterioration errors became the centerpiece for what makes the 1960 Lincoln penny such a legendary coin in today's collector market. To grasp the value of these errors, one needs to understand how they happen. A double die, for example, occurs when the die used to strike the coin is impressed more than once with misalignment. This creates a noticeable doubling on numbers or letters, most famously seen in the digits of the date or the motto, "In God We Trust." For the 1960 Lincoln penny, some examples reveal doubled features so dramatic that even without magnification, the naked eye can see the doubling. Combine that with the small date variety and suddenly you have a combination that collectors prize as exceedingly rare. Over the decades, coin collectors and dealers have uncovered examples of the 1960 Lincoln cent with these unusual errors that command extraordinary prices. Auction records and private sales reveal just how much value these errors add. A cent that might otherwise be ignored or tossed into a change jar could instead be worth between $62,250 and $141,330, depending on the specific error, variety, and condition. This wide valuation range keeps collectors on edge, searching rolls of pennies and old jars in the hope of finding one of these elusive rarities. Consider the excitement of a collector attending an auction and realizing that a coin they once dismissed as just another penny is now being bid up into the six-figure range. This transformation in value is not just about the rarity but also about the story behind the coin. The 1960 Lincoln penny is a tangible reminder that errors, often seen as mistakes, can become treasures. It reflects how the imperfections of the minting process tell a story about the tools, techniques, and history of the U.S. Mint itself. Among the most famous 1960 errors are the double die obverse varieties. Some show doubling in the numerals of the date, with the 0 and 6 most affected. Others reveal strong doubling in the word liberty. These varieties are highly coveted, and the strongest examples command the highest premiums. Then there are the repunched mint marks, particularly from the Denver Mint, where overlapping impressions of the D mint mark create fascinating and collectible quirks. Each of these varieties adds layers of value and intrigue to the 1960 Lincoln penny. Beyond errors, the small date versus large date dynamic adds another level of collectability. The small date pennies, especially in uncirculated or proof condition, already attract collectors' attention. But when combined with a double die or repunched mint mark, their rarity increases exponentially. It is this combination of characteristics, date size, mint errors, and condition that explains why some 1960 Lincoln pennies have sold for between $62,250 and $141,330. For collectors, it is not just about owning a coin, but about holding a piece of numismatic history that reflects a unique intersection of chance and production. Stories circulate among the numismatic community about extraordinary finds. A young collector in the 1970s might have come across a 1960 small date double die cent in a roll of coins purchased at the bank, only to discover years later its incredible value. Similarly, estate sales often reveal old jars of coins that contain treasures long forgotten. In each case, the thrill of discovery is matched by the knowledge that a coin originally worth 1 cent can become a life-changing asset. The role of grading services like PCGS and NGC is also pivotal in determining the value of these coins. A 1960 Lincoln penny error in pristine condition, graded at the highest levels, attracts fierce bidding wars at auctions. Collectors are not only paying for the rarity of the error but also for the preservation of the coin, ensuring that its features remain as sharp and distinct as when it was struck. This combination of rarity and condition is what pushes the value into the range of $62,250 to $141,330. The 1960 Lincoln penny also highlights a broader truth about numismatics: that even the smallest and most common coins can hold enormous value under the right circumstances. Unlike gold or silver coins, the penny is made from a relatively inexpensive metal alloy, yet its rarity and errors make it more valuable than many precious metal coins. This paradox captures the imagination of collectors, reminding them that value is not always about intrinsic worth but often about history, rarity, and uniqueness. Looking at the broader cultural context, the 1960s were a time of transformation in America. From the election of John F. Kennedy to the space race and civil rights movement, the country was evolving rapidly. Coins like the 1960 Lincoln cent serve as artifacts of that era, connecting us to the everyday lives of people who used them during those historic times. Holding such a coin today is not just about owning a rarity. It is about connecting with a piece of the nation's storied past. The market for rare coins continues to grow, fueled by collectors and investors alike. The 1960 Lincoln cent remains one of the standout stars. Its combination of small date and large date varieties, its error possibilities, and its ties to a pivotal decade in American history ensure its enduring place in numismatic lore. For those lucky enough to find one of the high-value error examples, the reward is not only financial but also deeply personal, a reminder that treasures can still be found in the most unexpected places. The pursuit of the 1960 Lincoln cent error coin underscores why coin collecting continues to captivate so many. Each coin has a story, and each story is a piece of history. In this case, the story is about how a tiny error on a 1-cent piece can elevate it to a value between $62,250 and $141,330, changing the way we see something so ordinary. The next time someone looks at a simple penny, they might think twice about dismissing it. Because hidden in plain sight, there could be a coin that tells a story of history, chance, and value beyond measure. In 1976, while the nation was celebrating its bicentennial with special designs on quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins, the humble Lincoln cent quietly continued its journey in circulation. To most Americans, it was nothing more than the small copper coin they used to buy candy, newspapers, or save in jars at home. The Lincoln penny, first struck in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, had by then become the longest-running design in United States coinage history. By 1976, the obverse still carried Victor David Brenner's classic portrait of Lincoln, and the reverse displayed the Lincoln Memorial, a design first introduced in 1959. At first glance, nothing about the 1976 penny seemed unusual. It didn't carry a special bicentennial design like other denominations, and it wasn't struck in a precious metal. But hidden among the millions produced were error coins that turned this everyday penny into a collector's dream, some worth between $55,500 and $125,000 today. The story of the 1976 Lincoln penny error coins begins with the minting process itself. The United States Mint produced billions of cents in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco that year. When coins are struck at such massive levels, the possibility of mistakes increases. Even though modern machinery was advanced compared to earlier decades, imperfections still slipped through. For the Lincoln cent in 1976, these errors range from double dies to off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die breaks, and repunched mint marks. Each of these mistakes transformed what should have been a simple 1-cent coin into something truly special, a piece of numismatic history that collectors spend years hunting for. One of the most famous errors tied to the 1976 penny involves double dies. A double die occurs during the die-making process, when the hub impresses the design onto the die more than once but in slightly different positions. When coins are struck with such a die, the doubling can appear in the numbers of the date, in the letters of liberty, or in the phrase "In God We Trust." For the 1976 penny, some double die varieties show strong doubling in the numbers of the date, a detail that immediately sets them apart. These coins are rare, and when they surface in excellent condition, they have been known to reach auction prices well into the range of $55,500 to $125,000, depending on the severity of the doubling and the grade of the coin. Another category of valuable 1976 Lincoln penny errors is off-center strikes. These coins are struck when the blank planchet is not properly aligned with the dies, causing the design to be off-center. Sometimes the off-center strike is only slight, but in rare cases, the strike can be so dramatic that part of the design is missing entirely. Collectors love these coins because each one is unique. The more dramatic the off-center strike and the clearer the visible date and mint mark, the more valuable the coin becomes. Examples from 1976 with severe off-center errors have been documented selling for tens of thousands, contributing to the impressive range of $55,500 to $125,000 for the most extraordinary pieces. Clipped planchet errors are another highlight of the 1976 penny story. A clipped planchet occurs when a blank metal disc is improperly cut, leaving part of the coin missing, often a crescent-shaped clip. These errors catch the eye immediately because they are so visually distinct. While minor clips may not attract large premiums, dramatic and well-preserved clips from 1976 can bring serious collector interest. Combine that with the already nostalgic appeal of a penny struck in the nation's bicentennial year, and values rise sharply. Repunched mint marks, especially from the Denver Mint, are also tied to 1976 Lincoln pennies. Before the 1990s, mint marks were punched into the die by hand. This led to cases where the D mint mark was struck more than once, sometimes at slightly different angles or positions. Collectors call these RPMs, or repunched mint marks. While subtle, they are highly collectible and represent another kind of error that adds to the mystique of the 1976 penny. Some strong examples have fetched thousands at auction, especially when they appear on coins in uncirculated condition. Die breaks and cuds are also important error types from this year. A die break occurs when part of the die begins to crack or deteriorate, leaving raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface. A cud is a more dramatic form of die break, where a piece of the die actually breaks off, leaving a large, blank raised area on the struck coin. Collectors prize these because they are dramatic reminders of the minting process at work. For the 1976 penny, die breaks and cuds add even more variety to the list of errors that can transform a simple cent into a piece worth thousands. The key to unlocking the true value of these 1976 penny errors lies in condition. A coin found in circulation may still carry some value if the error is clear, but the real money comes when the coin is preserved in mint state condition, graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. Coins that are certified at the highest levels can bring jaw-dropping prices, and this is where we see numbers like $55,500 to $125,000 being realized at auctions. Collectors know that rarity combined with pristine preservation creates the perfect storm for value. Part of the charm of the 1976 Lincoln penny error story is the element of surprise. Think about it, millions of these coins passed through the hands of Americans during the bicentennial year. People used them to buy gas, groceries, or to save in piggy banks. Nobody suspected that some of those pennies, seemingly ordinary, held hidden mistakes that would one day make them treasures. The idea that a 1-cent coin from your pocket change could be worth more than a luxury car captures the imagination of collectors and non-collectors alike. Over the years, several stories have emerged of collectors or casual finders discovering 1976 pennies with dramatic errors tucked away in old jars or inherited collections. These stories fuel the excitement and keep the hunt alive. Each discovery is a reminder that coins like these are still out there, waiting to be found by someone with a keen eye. That sense of mystery and possibility is part of what makes numismatics such a captivating hobby. It's also worth noting the cultural context of 1976. The United States was celebrating its 200th anniversary, a moment of immense pride and reflection. Special designs on other denominations captured the spirit of the bicentennial, while the Lincoln cent quietly continued unchanged. And yet, it is in that very ordinariness that the extraordinary emerged. Error coins from this year are like hidden time capsules, carrying both the story of America's celebration and the imperfections of the minting process that slipped through unnoticed. Today, collectors across the country and even around the world hunt for these elusive 1976 Lincoln penny errors. Online marketplaces, coin shows, and auctions all become arenas where these treasures surface and trade hands. Each coin is studied carefully, with magnification and grading tools, to determine just how rare and valuable it truly is. And when one of these coins comes to light in high condition, the excitement is palpable. Bidders compete fiercely, driving the price higher and higher until the hammer falls, sometimes in that incredible range of $55,500 to $125,000. The story of the 1976 Lincoln penny error is ultimately one of transformation. What began as a simple copper coin, mass-produced for everyday use, became something extraordinary through the quirks of minting. It serves as a reminder that value is not always about the material itself but about the story, the rarity, and the uniqueness it represents. For collectors, owning one of these coins is about more than money. It is about holding a piece of history, a reminder of America's bicentennial year, and a tangible example of how mistakes can become treasures. For anyone hearing this story, the lesson is clear. Never underestimate the coins in your pocket. That jar of pennies you've ignored for years might hold a fortune waiting to be discovered. All it takes is one rare 1976 error penny to change everything, transforming 1 cent into something worth between $55,500 and $125,000. And that is the magic of coin collecting, the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, and the possibility that the smallest coin can carry the greatest surprise. In 2008, as the world stood at the edge of financial uncertainty and dramatic political change, the United States Mint was still fulfilling its duty of producing billions of Lincoln 1-cent coins for everyday circulation. The penny by that time had already been in circulation for nearly a century, with the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln by Victor David Brenner firmly etched into the collective memory of Americans. Most people never gave a second thought to the coins in their pockets or purses, but for coin collectors and sharp-eyed enthusiasts, the 2008 Lincoln 1-cent penny is remembered for something far more exciting. A series of rare mint errors from that year transformed what was otherwise just another penny into a collector's treasure capable of commanding staggering prices. Some examples have fetched anywhere from $44,500 to $110,000 at auction, proving that even in the modern era, a humble cent can be worth a small fortune. To understand why the 2008 Lincoln penny stands out, one must first appreciate the minting process and the timing of this particular year. By 2008, the U.S. Mint was preparing for the historic 2009 redesign that would honor the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth with 4 new reverse designs. With so much focus on the upcoming transition, massive quantities of 2008 pennies were produced quickly and in high numbers, both at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. When production is high and speed is a factor, the chances of minting errors slip through the cracks. And it is within these errors that collectors find immense value. Among the most notable 2008 penny errors are double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, broad strikes, and even rare transitional errors. The double die errors, in particular, are the ones that have caught the greatest attention. On certain 2008 cents, the doubling is seen in the inscriptions like Liberty or the motto In God We Trust. The numerals in the date 2008 also sometimes show faint to dramatic doubling, which instantly sets them apart from ordinary strikes. These double die coins, when found in pristine condition, are the ones that can push the price range up toward $44,500 to $110,000. Off-center strikes are another variety from this year that attract collectors. An off-center strike happens when the blank planchet is not properly aligned with the dies during striking, resulting in a coin that shows a partial design. Depending on how far off the strike is, the coin may show a fascinating and dramatic misalignment, with some areas missing entirely while other parts reveal unusual spacing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially when combined with the date still being visible, the higher the value climbs. Die cracks and cuds are also seen on some 2008 pennies. These are created when a die develops a fracture during the minting process, leaving raised lines or blobs of extra metal on the coin's surface. These errors give the coin a unique appearance that collectors love, since no two cracked die coins are exactly alike. Some examples have developed such distinctive cracks across Lincoln's profile or along the rim that they look almost like deliberate design features, making them stand out in the eyes of buyers. Broad strikes are another fascinating error from 2008, where a coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally holds it in place, causing the coin to spread out larger than its normal size. These coins look stretched, with designs often appearing warped, which makes them instantly recognizable. Collectors who specialize in dramatic mint mistakes prize broad strikes, and the 2008 Lincoln penny provides several such examples. Perhaps one of the most intriguing types of errors that can occur is the transitional error. These happen when the mint accidentally strikes a coin using the wrong metal composition or leftover planchets from a different year or series. While extremely rare for 2008, rumors and occasional discoveries of transitional planchet errors on Lincoln cents from this time frame have surfaced, sending collectors into a frenzy when one is verified. Such transitional errors could easily push a penny's value into that remarkable range of $44,500 to $110,000, given their scarcity. What makes the 2008 Lincoln cent especially interesting is that it came right before a major design change. Collectors knew that 2009 would bring special bicentennial designs, and as a result, more people began saving 2008 pennies than usual. This extra attention led to the discovery of error varieties more quickly than in other years, and collectors began carefully examining their change for signs of doubling, cracks, or striking issues. Some people who once thought they had an ordinary coin later discovered they were holding a piece of history worth tens of thousands of dollars. Stories of finds continue to fuel excitement around the 2008 penny. There are accounts of sharp-eyed collectors spotting double dies in pocket change or coin rolls purchased from banks. For those who submitted their finds to professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC, the results were often life-changing. A coin authenticated as a major double die or significant off-center strike in high mint state condition can leap in value to the upper levels of the $44,500 to $110,000 range. The role of grading cannot be overstated. A 2008 penny error in circulated condition may attract attention, but one preserved in brilliant uncirculated or mint state condition, with sharp luster and clear error features, becomes exponentially more desirable. Collectors want not just rarity but quality, and the combination of those two elements is what drives prices to their peak. This is why auctions of high-grade examples consistently generate bidding wars, with buyers vying to own one of the rarest modern cents. The 2008 penny is also a reminder of a broader truth in coin collecting. Value is not always tied to age. While many assume only older coins are worth great sums, the 2008 Lincoln cent proves that modern coins can also hold immense value if they contain the right errors. This realization has kept collectors searching through even the most recent coin rolls, knowing that treasures can still be found hiding among the ordinary. For those new to collecting, the story of the 2008 penny serves as inspiration. It shows that you don't need to own gold or silver coins to hold something of significant worth. Even a simple copper-plated zinc cent can carry a price tag of $44,500 to $110,000 if it happens to bear the right error. This creates excitement for both seasoned collectors and beginners, reminding them that the next incredible discovery could be just one handful of change away. The connection of the 2008 penny to its time in history adds another layer of fascination. The year was marked by the global financial crisis, rising unemployment, and widespread uncertainty. For many Americans, a penny was seen as nearly worthless in purchasing power, often disregarded or left in change jars. Yet within that very year, a select few pennies emerged as some of the most valuable coins of the modern era. It's almost poetic. The coin considered least significant in the eyes of many turned out to hold extraordinary hidden value. Collectors today continue to seek out these rare 2008 errors, with each discovery reinforcing the idea that the ordinary can indeed become extraordinary. Whether it is a double die that makes the lettering leap out under magnification, an off-center strike that shows Lincoln's portrait shifted awkwardly to one side, or a dramatic die crack splitting across the coin's surface, each error tells its own story of imperfection and rarity. And in the world of numismatics, imperfection is exactly what creates perfection in value. When these coins come up at major auctions, the excitement is palpable. Bidders push the prices higher and higher, not only for the rarity but also for the prestige of owning such a modern marvel. Imagine holding a 1-cent coin from 2008 and knowing that someone across the country is willing to pay as much as $110,000 to have it in their collection. That transformation of value captures the essence of why coin collecting continues to fascinate people across generations. The 2008 Lincoln 1-cent penny era coins stand as proof that history, rarity, and chance all combine to create something far greater than the sum of its parts. What started as a coin struck in the billions, worth only a cent in commerce, has become a coveted collector's prize. With values ranging from $44,500 to $110,000, these pennies remind us that hidden treasures still circulate among us, waiting to be found by the watchful eyes of those who understand their true worth. The year 2014 might not seem so far in the past, but even in modern coinage, extraordinary treasures can appear in the most unexpected ways. Most people handle pennies without a second thought, tossing them into change jars, pockets, or letting them pile up in the bottom of cars. Yet among the billions of Lincoln cents struck in 2014, there are certain error coins that transformed what was supposed to be an ordinary 1-cent piece into something astonishingly valuable. These rare errors have stunned collectors and investors, with some examples reaching prices between $35,500 and $92,000 depending on their condition, rarity, and the type of error. For a coin still so modern, it raises an exciting question. How many of these hidden treasures are still out there, waiting to be discovered? The Lincoln penny has long held a special place in American numismatic history. Introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse portrait of Lincoln has endured for more than a century, while the reverse has seen changes from the original wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial, and later to the Union Shield design that began in 2010. By 2014, the shield design had firmly taken hold, and billions of coins poured out of the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Most of them were perfectly ordinary, worth exactly 1 cent, but a small fraction bore mistakes that would ultimately turn them into modern legends. Errors in coinage happen when something goes wrong in the minting process. In 2014, even with modern technology and tighter controls than in earlier eras, mistakes still slipped through. Double dies, misaligned dies, off-center strikes, die breaks, and even plating errors appeared on a handful of coins. Unlike older pennies made mostly of copper, modern Lincoln cents are composed of copper-plated zinc, making them susceptible to distinctive kinds of errors such as plating bubbles, peeling, and lamination defects. For collectors, these quirks are not defects to be discarded but prized rarities that command incredible premiums. One of the most significant categories of errors for 2014 Lincoln cents is the double die. These occur when the die used to strike the coin receives more than one impression from the hub in a misaligned fashion. The result is a visible doubling on letters, numbers, or design details. For 2014 pennies, doubling can often be found on the date, the motto "In God We Trust," or the word liberty. While some double dies are minor and require magnification, others are dramatic enough to be seen with the naked eye. It is those dramatic varieties, combined with high grades, that can transform a 1-cent piece into a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. Collectors often highlight the fact that while double dies and misstrikes are more famous on coins from earlier decades, modern examples like the 2014 penny stand out because they are unexpected. In a time when the mint is assumed to be nearly flawless, discovering a coin with dramatic errors creates excitement and buzz in the numismatic community. And when those coins make their way into auctions, the prices they achieve can be astounding. For example, certified 2014 Lincoln cent errors in pristine condition have been known to reach between $35,500 and $92,000, depending on the uniqueness of the error and the competition among bidders. What makes this story even more fascinating is that some of these coins are discovered by everyday people who are not professional collectors. There are accounts of individuals finding unusual 2014 pennies in their pocket change, noticing strange doubling or off-center strikes, and later realizing the incredible value of their discovery. The thrill of turning a penny into a life-changing windfall is part of what keeps collectors and casual searchers so engaged with coin roll hunting and everyday change checking. It reminds people that treasures can still be hiding in plain sight, even in the most ordinary objects. One of the most exciting 2014 error types involves off-center strikes. In these cases, the coin is not properly aligned with the dies, and part of the design is missing while blank space appears on one side. The degree of off-center striking often determines value. The more dramatic and well-centered the error, the more appealing it becomes to collectors. A 2014 Lincoln cent with a significant off-center strike in uncirculated condition could fall within that staggering $35,500 to $92,000 range. For a coin originally worth only 1 cent, that leap in value is nearly impossible to comprehend without seeing the bidding wars firsthand. Another rare and sought-after error is the broad strike. This happens when the retaining collar that keeps the coin in place during striking fails, allowing the coin to spread out wider than normal. A broad-struck 2014 penny retains all its design elements but looks visibly larger and distorted. Combined with flawless preservation, this type of error can make collectors compete fiercely, pushing auction results well into the tens of thousands. Die breaks and die chips, while more common, also add value when they occur in dramatic fashion. A die break error can create raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin, sometimes forming shapes that collectors nickname, such as cuds or cracks. If a 2014 penny has such a dramatic die break that it changes the look of Lincoln's portrait or the Union Shield design, it becomes especially interesting to collectors. In a high-grade example, even such quirky errors can reach prices rivaling more traditional double dies. Grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, play a critical role in establishing the value of 2014 Lincoln penny errors. Collectors trust these organizations to authenticate errors and assign grades that reflect condition, luster, and eye appeal. A coin that might be dismissed without certification can suddenly jump to the high end of the $35,500 to $92,000 valuation range once authenticated and graded at the top levels. This is why serious collectors often submit their error finds for professional evaluation. The value range itself is part of what drives engagement and fascination. To think that 1 penny could be worth $35,500 at minimum and possibly soar to $92,000 at auction keeps people searching. It is not just the seasoned numismatist who finds this appealing but also the everyday person who hopes to stumble upon a rare variety. Stories circulate of individuals cashing in coins found in rolls from the bank or inherited collections, suddenly discovering they own a treasure that can pay off debts or even change their lifestyle. What makes the 2014 Lincoln penny error story even more captivating is that it is ongoing. Unlike older coins from the 19th or early 20th century, where most examples have likely already been discovered, modern errors like these may still be sitting unnoticed in circulation. Every day, there is potential for someone to find a coin worth $35,500 to $92,000 in their pocket change without realizing it. This element of mystery and possibility fuels the excitement around the 2014 era pennies. The Union Shield design itself adds to the narrative. Adopted in 2010, it represents unity and strength, symbolizing the preservation of the United States. To see this design, so deliberately crafted to convey stability, struck in error is ironic yet fascinating. Collectors see beauty not just in the design but in the way errors distort it, creating one-of-a-kind pieces of art that will never be repeated. Each 2014 error penny becomes unique. No two errors are exactly alike, adding to their desirability. Auction houses have played a huge role in showcasing these coins to the public. When a rare 2014 error penny comes to market, the bidding often starts modestly but quickly escalates as collectors compete to own a piece of modern minting history. The final hammer price, sometimes soaring into that $92,000 range, reflects not just rarity but also the passion of the numismatic community. Collectors know that these opportunities do not come around often, so they are willing to go above and beyond to secure such a piece. That it is also worth noting that the popularity of error coins in general has grown significantly in recent years. With social media, online marketplaces, and numismatic forums spreading information quickly, stories of valuable finds reach larger audiences than ever before. This has created a surge of new collectors who are curious about their pocket change and motivated by the idea that they might uncover a fortune. The 2014 Lincoln penny, with its high-value errors, is one of the modern coins at the center of this excitement. Ultimately, the story of the 2014 Lincoln cent is about more than just money. It is about discovery, history, and the thrill of the hunt. Each coin connects us not only to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln but also to the craftsmanship and unpredictability of the minting process. Errors remind us that perfection is rare, and sometimes mistakes create beauty and value beyond measure. For those who collect or even casually search their change, the lesson is clear: never overlook a penny. The humble 1-cent coin, often disregarded or left behind, could turn out to be worth anywhere from $35,500 to $92,000. That is the magic of numismatics. Ordinary objects become extraordinary treasures when history, rarity, and chance align.